Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we are starting our rankings. I have been waiting so long for these. So if you guys want to see more of these, leave a like, subscribe, and notification, add me on Snapchat, follow me on Twitter. Up all of my socials in my bio. So let's get into this. So like I said, we are starting the rankings. And we are starting it off with NHL teams 2021-2022. So yes, the Kraken are on here. And listen to this. So the first team we got is the Anaheim Ducks. They're indeed because like going off their off season, they didn't really do much. Plus, last year overall, I have my phone because I'm using it for their record from the last year. They were looking at records from last year. They were 7th. They were 31, 37, and 14, and only had 76 points. So, like, overall, they weren't that great of a team, but, like, they didn't do too bad. Alright, now we got the Arizona Coyotes. I'm actually gonna make this to say trash. Because there are a couple teams in this that are trash. And the Coyotes are one of them. And last year, the Coyotes were 25, 50, and 7, and then they had 57 points. They had a negative 106. They had a negative 106 run differential last year, which sucks. So they were pretty bad last year. The other team that we have in here, I'm gonna put them in A because is our next team we're gonna be talking about is the Boston Bruins. That last year they were 51, 26, and 5, and they were pretty good. They did make the playoffs. They did lose overall. I'm using my phone for the records, just to look at records from last year, because this is last year's teams, but whatever. Buffalo Sabres, I'm going to put them in... Ooh, where do I put them? I'm going to put them in... I'm going to move the Ducks to C. I'm going to put the Sabres in F because they were in D. And I'm going to move Anaheim back. So Anaheim overall, or not Anaheim, Buffalo overall, they were 32, 39, and 11 and had 75 points. And they actually weren't a bad, like, they did not make the playoffs, which is what I expected. But they weren't bad. They were decent. Calgary. D. They were just... There we go. Put them in sucked. Put them in D. I'm gonna make it say D. Where's the... D. I'm gonna make this be like... D+, there we go. So, yeah, not D+. I'm gonna make this say F and then trash. So, I'm gonna put the Coyotes in trash. Alright, so our first team that actually goes, I'm gonna put the... Alright, the next team we're talking, so getting back to the Flames here. They were an okay team last year overall, but they did make some moves this offseason. They traded off a ton of guys, so they started rebuilding. Last year, they won their division at 50, 21, and 11, and had 111 points. So this year, I don't think they're going to do that. I think it'll be someone else's division to win, but you never know. They did trade off Monahan. They traded off Kachuk. They traded off a lot of their good pieces. They did get Huberto, so that's interesting. The other team that we're going to talk about is, I'm going to put them in trash, is the, Chicago Blackhawks. There you go. Couldn't think of the word. They were 28, 42, and 12 and had 68 points. And they, they were completely trash last year. Next team we're talking about, they're going in as, I don't need to say anything about them. They are the 2021, sorry to grab my drink. They are the 2021 Stanley Cup champions. The Colorado Avalanche. There we go. Oh my gosh. And they were 56-19-7 and had 107 points. 119 points, sorry. And they had a 78 plus 78 differential, so that was good. They were next. They're like top, they're like creme de la creme, as they say. Next team we're talking about is the Columbus Blue Jackets. I'm going to put them in C because here's why. They didn't have a bad year overall. They were 37, 38, and 7 and had 81 points by the end of the year. So I'm kind of excited to see like what they do this season. If they're good, they may not be that good. They may be I don't know. You can never really predict on how good the Columbus Blue Jackets really are. Next team we're going to talk about is the Dallas Stars. I'm going to put them in C because, again, last year they were 46, 30, and 6, and they tried. They're a good team, but yeah. Next team we're going to talk about, I'm going to put them in D, is the Detroit Red Wings. And the funny thing is, I have a relative who lives in Detroit, and I don't know if he's a Red Wings fan, I don't know. But anyway, they were 32, 40, and 10, and had 74 points. Oh, by the way, the Stars had 98 points last year. And they were just they were just so good. Dallas was good. Red Wings were they didn't even make the playoffs. But they were okay. Oilers, I'm going to put them in B. Because, here's why. They had a good year. They made it all the way to the conference final. And they lost. They were 49, 27, and 6. And had 104 points. And they lost in the conference final to the Avalanche, who ended up winning the cup. So, yeah. Alright, next team we're going to talk about is the Florida Panthers. I'm kind of talking about like the postseason from last year as well, even though this was made for 2021-2022. Next team we're talking about is the Florida Panthers, and oh my gosh, they had quite the year. They were 58, 18, and 6. And they lost in I forget which round of the playoffs. They lost to the Lightning in the second round. And so, yeah. They had 122 points by the end of the year. And so that was amazing for them. The next team we're actually going to talk about is they're not going in C. They're going in, I'm going to put them in A. Is my favorite team, the Pittsburgh Penguins. They had quite the season. They had what was that? Insane amount of, hold on, let me look that up. Penguins winning winning streak. 2022. Penguins had 9 straight victories. They started the year, that started against a 4-1 win against Vancouver, 6-1 win against Seattle, 4-2 win against Washington, 1-0 win against Anaheim, a 5-2 win over Montreal, a 3-2 win over Buffalo, a 3-2 win over New Jersey, and a 8-5 win over San Jose. And, that's what they had. So, we had a good year. Overall, we were 46, 25, and 11 and had 103 points. And we did lose in the first round of the New York Rangers in 7 games, or 6, I don't know, 7 I think. But overall, I think, and then we also brought back Malkin, Letang, Russ, Raquel, Jan Ruda, Petrie this offseason, and brought in Petrie. I think we'll have a good, hopefully another good season. Next team we're talking about, I'm going to put them in D. They're just, you can't predict this team. Last year, overall, they were 44, 27, and 11, and had 104 points. And they did an okay job. Or not an okay job. They had an okay type year. Next team we're talking about is going to be the Minnesota Wild. I'm going to put them in C because last year they were 53, 22, and 7 and had 113 points. And they did good. I'm just going to say they had a good season. And they did bring back Fleury. Next team we're talking about is the Montreal Canadiens. I'm going to put them in F because they had a bad season. They were 22, 49, and 11 and 55 points. And they just sucked the entire year. They didn't have their best goaltender in Carey Price. And so, yeah. Next team we're talking about is the Nashville Predators. I'm going to put them in C. Yeah, I'm going to put them in C. Because they were 45, 30, and 7 and had 97 points. And they did make the playoffs, but they did lose, I think, in the first round. The New Jersey Devils. I'm going to put them in D. Just bad year again. I'm expecting them to have another bad year. They were 27, 46, and 9 and had 63 points. The other team that had another bad year was I'm going to put them in F, the Philadelphia Flyers at 25, 46, and 11 had 61 points. And again, they were just completely garbage. Alright, our next team I'm talking about is going to be the New York Rangers, the Islanders, excuse me. I'm going to put them in D, because here's why. Overall, they were 37, 35, and 10 and had 84 points, but there were times where, the Pens beat them, and then the times that the Islanders beat us. So, yeah, overall, they had an okay year last year. New York Rangers, I'm going to put them in B. Speaking of I just mentioned them because they beat the Pens in 7. They were 52, 24, and 6 and had 110 points. And they did not win their division, the division they lost. They were only 6 points behind the Hurricanes, who ended up winning the division. Next team we're talking about is, oh my god, they had a heck of an offseason. I'm going to put them in B. Wait, how did they do last year? 33, 42, and 7. The Ottawa Senators, I'm going to put them in C. And I'll put them in D. The Ottawa Senators, like I said, they were 33, 42, and 7, and had 73 points. Yeah. So, anyway, Sharks, F. They sucked. I hate to, they were 32, 37, and 13, and had 77 points. And were just sucked the entire year. Another team that goes in trash is the Seattle Kraken, the new team. They were 27, 49, and 6, and had 60 points. I know it's just their first year, but we all were like, they're going to be an interesting team. They're going to be good. They're going to be I was really expecting for them to be like the Vegas the first year, make all the way to the Stanley Cup final, and win. If not, lose it. If they didn't win it, whatever. Get the cup in their first year, but unfortunately that did not happen, so yeah. And the next team we're talking about is the St. Louis Blues. I'm going to put the Blues in B because they were 49, 22, and 11 and had 109 points at the end of the year. And they have, some amazing players, and they went off last year. But they did struggle against my Pittsburgh Penguins, which I love to see. The next team we gotta talk about is the back-to-back Stanley Cup champs. They're going in S. the back-to-back, two-time back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, the Tampa Bay Lightning. And last year overall, they were 54-21-7, and they had 115 points, and they had a great year. Oh, no, they didn't. They had 51-23-8, had 110 points. Next team we're talking about here, Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm going to put them in B, because they were 54-21-7 at 115 points. Now the Lightning, no, that was I forgot, whoops, I flip-flopped the two. But yeah, anyway, Vancouver, I'm going to put them in, F, because, again, they struggled. They were 40-30-12 and had 92 points. I'm having a drink here. Alright, next team. They were... I'm gonna put them in... C. Because last year, they were 43-31-8, and they had 94 points. And, oh, by the way, the Kings were 44-27-11 and had 99 points. And the Capitals, the Washington Crapitals, as I call them, sorry, Caps fans, I'm going to put them in C. Because last year, they were 44-26-12, and they had 100 points, but the Penguins were 3 games ahead of them, so they never could catch up with us, but they did beat us. And the last team we're talking about is the Winnipeg Jets. And overall last year, where did Winnipeg go? They were 39-32-11 and had 89 points. So I'm gonna put them in F. Nope, D. So that's that. So remember, leave a like. So if you guys like these, that'll do it for me on the rankings. On the first night of rankings, remember, leave a like, subscribe to the notification, add me on Snapchat, laugh at them, follow me on Twitter, hit up all of my socials in my bio, and I will see you all tomorrow for another video. Peace!